All right, we are live. Welcome everybody. How is everybody doing on this wonderful Tuesday afternoon? Tommy, good morning. Patrick, good morning. Hop, good morning. Trin, good morning. So let's go ahead and hop right into it and see what we find. All right, so today's open a lot lower after overnight inventory was fairly mixed, right? Overnight inventory got a little bit long and then ended up selling off later on in the night. Very mechanical, low, right towards that point of control. If we remember correctly, right, we had a lot of mechanical levels from Friday. Whoa. Um, if we look here, right, this G low, one tick below the E open, I low right there, J low, K low. So there was a lot of mechanical references that have since been cleaned up from the market. Market tested that excess. Remember, we still have this little gap down here. The market tested that A excess and held and is now moving back up to the upside. So for me, I have taken two trades today. They are from, where do I show the order fill? So I took a trade from 14.75, 14.15 quarter to 41.19.75 and 41.21 quarter, and then I took another trade from 23 quarter, 23.50 and 23, and then closed them all out at 28 and 28.50. So I've only taken two long trades today. It took me a while to make those trades. I mean, I didn't take my first trade until about 10:14 Eastern time, so I waited a pretty good amount of time. And that's kind of what I want to talk to about, right? Yesterday I had kind of said that I was looking for the upside, but I was looking for the upside on a pullback because the market did seem like it got a little bit overextended on Friday. This little Globex session, or this little session here, I don't even, not even really looking at it, to be honest. Basically, like it didn't happen. So we did see a lot of mechanical buying on Friday. I wanted to see if the market was going to be able to clean those up. It did, came back down, tested them a little bit. You got a decent move back up in B. B ended up taking a low, but trapping a bunch of sellers short right there below that value area. Buyers bought it back up, and now we're seeing the market just coming back up almost to the open, right below that the open, and starting to basically just balance, right? And so if we look at it, we're basically having overlapping balance, right? Here's value area high, here's value area low. So we're inside Friday's range and we're balancing. So until we get some more progress, right, until the market's able to establish over some points, right, until we get back up above this spike up here, we're going to be probably looking at more balance. I am leaning to the upside just because today is the 31st, so it's the last day of the month, and a lot of times on the last day of the month, typically we'll get, you're not going to get a bunch of people showing up to look to get short leading into the last day of the month, right? Some of these asset managers are looking to, balance the budget sheets and go home with a positive outlook for the first time in a while, right? And if we look at the ES here, you can see, especially on a monthly, what's the month at? Right, the monthly hasn't looked great in a while. We haven't had a positive month since March, and this month is almost right at its open. It's a little bit tough to see here. Let's go ahead, switch over here real quick. We can see the breadth is red, but not really anything too impressive. There's not really a ton of selling. You can see most of the people have been on the selling, but they have let it go a little bit as we start to get some upside on the ticks. The breadth, the advanced decline, and the volume are both down, not looking great. So probably safe to sell rallies until the top comes off, but in reality, you're gonna want to be safe and probably play around the edges until the market starts to make a decision whether it wants to go down or up. So here's the monthly, a little bit easier to look at, right? And you can see, you know, here's the open of the month was 41.44. The low, or the current right now 41.29. So I would imagine that that's where the target is, just to try to get above that to finish positive. You know, in reality, the goal really to finish positive, that 41.04, that could be giving us this balance that we have here, and this could be that look below and fail. And so that's something that we'll have to continue to monitor. And remember, this is on a monthly basis, so it's a little bit longer term than what we're trading here on intraday. Luis, what's up, man? How is it going?
Chilling, man. Murder in the market, yo.
Quick question: how can ES and MES move the same? So the ES and the MES are the same thing. The ES is the E mini S&P 500, and the MES is the micro E mini S&P 500. So it's the same thing. It's just the contracts are different size. So an ES contract is 10 times the size of an MES contract. So that's how. My bad, Luis. What did you say?
I've been murdering it.
Nice. Do you
Been
watch that fight this weekend?
hell yeah. Javante's a beast.
Yeah. What a surprise, huh? He just like that was
Yo,
just it.
did you hear afterwards they talked to Rolly? This was in the back. He had already gotten an IV, and they talked to him on camera. He was like, yeah, everyone bet your money on me. I'm gonna knock Tank out. And they were like, Rolly, Tank just knocked you out. He was like, yeah, probably, but put your money on me. We're gonna get rich together. They're like, no, Rolly,
Hello?
you just lost. He's like, and he just changed the subject. He didn't even realize he had fought yet after the knockout. Anybody else watch that fight? Tank is gonna be he's gonna have super fights from here on out.
Yeah, that was a beast. Like, I mean, I'm not surprised. It's what's crazy is though is like if you look at him after, like, I mean, he's definitely out of it, right? Like, you know, and then the ref can see it in his eyes because his eyes are glazed over. That's why I had him take that side step and then called it. But you know, that's I mean, he took a shot. That thing hit him right on the button and he just went down.
If the ref let him back in there, they would be taking him out on a stretcher.
Yeah, he would have just got beat up again. Are those guys fighting with um are those 8 ounce
8 ounce
gloves?
gloves.
Yeah, yeah.
8 ounce gloves. That'll rock your ass.
Yeah, I mean 8 ounce gloves, 8 ounce boxing gloves are just meant to protect your hand mostly. That's what MMA gloves are for too. They're mainly just there so you have something to hold on to so you don't break your fingers and break your hand.
Those are 4 ounce gloves.
Yeah, the 4 ounce MMA gloves, yeah.
There's really nothing there.
Yeah, it's all just protection to prevent that boxer's fracture, really, because that's just an injury, and an injury that I've sustained before, and I'll tell you, it hurts like a bitch. Just every time you go to grab something, you feel it because it's just a small fracture right there, and like your fifth metatarsal bone, and it is the fucking worst. And you never know like that you use it so much until you hurt it, and then you start to use it all the time, and you're like, I hate this.
Trevor Whitman came out with a glove. His brand is Onyx. He's a coach. His gloves are really good. They have you pull a string and it tightens what you're talking about around the hand to prevent that boxer's fracture.
Nice. That's what's up. Yeah, I have some I mean some competition gloves that I used to use like that are tie up and then they have instead of tape they have this thing that kind of rolls down. I mean we still have to tape them for competition, but you roll this down so the laces aren't exposed at all. I love boxing, man. I miss boxing. One time when I was doing this boxing um I guess it was just some event, right? It was a Golden Gloves tournament, but it wasn't like it was Golden Gloves promotion, but not like a Golden Gloves tournament. Anyways, it's just like all amateurs. And so I had entered and everything, because they said if we entered the competition, we got the day off of work. And so I was like, oh, yeah, I'll do it. And right before we're about to walk out the tunnel, this guy that I was going against, we're both standing there back behind the tunnel, and he goes, hey, you see those Bud Light girls? He goes, after I get done beating you, I'm taking them out. And I was like, oh, cocky. I was like, okay. Like, I didn't know how to take it. And, it's just such a weird thing to say. Like, we hadn't had any, like first time I met this guy, right? Like, I didn't even know who I was fighting until that day. And he missed weight because I weighed in at, I think it was 147, and he weighed in at like 156. And I just accepted the fight anyways because he looked like a little roly-poly. And I ended up beating him. And then it's funny because like you see that there's a picture they took in the paper, and like the ref is raising my hand, and you could just see his face like just so full of sadness. I'm like, you started looking at the finish line before the race started, my friend. Remember, this thing can't do that, and so that just goes to show it's true in everything. You know what I mean? You got to take everything one step at a time. When you start to look past, what you've got going on right in front of you, that can change the future. Kind of like we talked about, everyone worries about going to the past to change the future, but no one really thinks about how what they're doing right now can change the future and how important it is. Bitcoin got some love this weekend as well. Yesterday when it opened up, this thing just started going up, balanced for a little bit, and then started going up again, starting to maintain a little bit higher.
It's a beast, man. I got a $19 trade-in on 70x leverage, up 762%.
Fuck yeah, good shit. Oh, I bought a new car this weekend. I got a 2022 Nissan Pathfinder.
Hell yeah.
It's nice. Yeah, it's super nice. Yeah. Got a steal on it because my dad works at Infinity, and so like they're charging like like 15K markup of MSRP for these cars, like right here in the Bay Area, and we got it for sticker price, so it's pretty cool. Next will be the Tesla.
I want the Cybertruck.
It's never coming out, man. You'll never have one. I said you'll never have one because they're not making it. I think that thing's bullshit, bro. I don't think it's happening. I don't think
coming out, bro. You're gonna see.
Yeah, I mean Ford came out with an electric truck before Tesla did. Their F-150 just came out.
Already got them out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What's taking Tesla so long?
I think the original design was actually too big for the road or something like that.
I'm
not sure though. I'm no Tesla buff.
Yeah, I don't think it's really on his agenda. Like, I mean, he's got a lot of shit going on, and that is kind of on the bottom of the list. It feels like. Yeah, no problem, Renko. Anytime. You want the Lightning? The Ford Lightning? Like the truck?
Yeah, man. The new one is electric. It's dope.
What is it? Is it a two-door? Does it look like the old one? Like the old Ford Lightning? Like the Fast and the Furious Ford Lightning?
No.
Oh, okay. I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just... Oh, this didn't open? You son of a beesh. Oh. Sometimes CR charts is sneaky, bro. It's an EV F-150 that will power your house for 3 days? Damn. The NASDAQ breath has flipped to green. Apple's down about 0.75%, Microsoft 0.75%, Google, Amazon, Tesla, all green. Amazon's up 2%. Google's almost up 1, Tesla's about 0.5%, Facebook's doing nothing, Nvidia's doing okay. Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, that's pretty cool to power your house for 3 days. I saw a funny ass picture yesterday, and people had taken like a white van and attached it like basically to their house and like painted it in. So like they painted all the windows, painted the whole truck, and then the meme was like, when the crack house has an escape hatch. It was pretty funny. How did I only get one block filled right there? That was trash. Trash fills. I'm in a long right now, guys. But I'm probably gonna have one lot on, so looking for that 4140. They can keep above this 35. Could have filled 4 lots, but only filled one. Piece of shit. Great towing and a work truck. See, that's like something that I'm not very good at, towing shit. Like easily forward, yeah, but when it comes to backing up something that's getting towed, I'm pretty much worthless.
That shit's hard to do, man. You got to know it. Everything's opposite.
One of my buddies, he's from Missouri, big country motherfucker. I mean, he just, it's like it's not even, it's like it's part of the car. He just gets on, starts backing up. Like in the army, we'll have like fucking, you'd have like an LMTV with a trailer on it, and he's just like, "Rah, rah, rah," just fucking like it's not even there. You're like, what the fuck?
That's how I learned on Humvees with a trailer on it.
See, I never had to drive really in the army, like almost ever. I drove 113 when I was in Korea, when James and I were on the track together. But that was it. So I mean, driving a 113 is basically like driving a roller coaster that doesn't have a track, and it can run over anything that you want to run over. So that was like, it was like a toy car that could just run over everything. Remember one time we were uh we were heading out to Camp Gary Owen, which is like the base camp at the border of South Korea and North Korea. We're driving all of our trucks there because we're gonna do some bullshit training exercise in the snow. And we're like driving down the Korean street, and Korean streets are all like made out of marble, and fucking, or the sidewalks are all like made out of marble, and they have like these like it almost kind of looks like a bike rack, but it's like a handrail, but it's like on every sidewalk, so you don't accidentally step in the street, because probably people get fucking smoked, and so wants to hold. Look for this 40 level, guys. That's where all the liquidity is at, is up on this 40. So above that 40, we could really start getting going. Back up there to that overnight point of control up at 4162. Of course, we got to get back above the spike and the settle and everything, but still, that looks like the target so far. But this could be a fade, right? They're having a lot of trouble getting above this open as well. But anyway, so we're driving down this street, and then we, I'm brand new. This is like when I barely just joined the army, just got into Korea, and we're like riding on the edge of the sidewalk, and I've never driven something so big. I've only driven a car at this point and a motorcycle, so I'm used to driving things that, they're small. And all of a sudden, I just start hitting the sidewalk, and I can just hear these little metal handrails just going ting, 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 just fucking, and this thing is just ripping them off and just shooting them off to the side of the road. I was like, oh fuck. We just kept driving, I guess. The government paid for it, I'm sure. So back up to the open here. Let me check the volume. No volume? That's what I was just about to check. Let me see. Yeah, 66% less volume than Friday. So a lot less. It's the last day of the month. Like I said, I think that we could just probably squeeze up until the close. I wouldn't be surprised if they were able to trap enough short inventory to move the market up higher to close above that. What did we say, 44? What level is this? What was the open? 41.44. So right here. Just to say that they finished positive on the month, you know, that wouldn't be a big shocker if they were able to do something like that, or if that's what their goal was here, to try to do something like that. What the fuck? How come it's not showing this? So we see the market got one tick above the open, about 2 ticks above the open. Remember the C low is still mechanical as well, so if they do break it, they'll probably target the C low. But I mean, it's going to take some supply to get it going, or maybe some news. That Powell meeting doesn't look like it's going to be on TV or broadcasted or anything like that. So I don't know if we're going to get anything from that either.
He's talking today.
Yeah, he's talking with Biden about inflation, but I don't know. I don't think it's on. I don't think it's like a live conversation or anything like that. I think it's just we'll probably get like a we'll probably get little clips from it as it comes out, and it's on at I think it's 10. So as the market is coming back down, look to see if it's going to break the Globex low, right? It doesn't break the Globex low and we start holding above, that's where we're looking for these opportune moments to take these pullback longs, right? I mean, that's pretty much, I've taken 3 trades now and they were all just pullback longs. Just, you know, looking to get, I think I got about 5 points on each of them and then just called it. So remember that C low is mechanical. So as you're getting a little bit of tempo coming to the downside, basically you're seeing right here buying, front running that Globex low and that Friday's point of control. So we're having a lot of value here. What the fuck? What are you doing? Oil's taking a little bit of a spill here. No pun intended. I don't know if there's any news on oil or what. But anyway, so you can see them front running this Globex low a little bit, and there's the point of control here from Friday. So it makes sense that buyers are showing up down here at the lows. You can see about 120 contracts trade on that most recent low, and they're not able to get down there to fix this mechanical level yet. Looks like that offer moved down. Oh no, they're still sitting up there on the 40 as well. An offer moved down here to the 30. See low is mechanical off the prior day half back. Yeah, and off that B half back as well. Why oil's getting beat up so bad? Everything's kind of slipping here. It looks weird. The breadth for the Nasdaq has flipped back to red. The tick just hit, 1,000 tick low. Bolts down, Nasdaq, RTY, Dow, bonds. The VIX is up. Communications and financials are the only thing that are really holding green right now. Let's see if this 2350 level holds again here. Nope. Go back down to that half back. Buying off the half back. The VWAP is right there too at 2150, it looks like. Stop at 4140. What's that? What do you mean, Renko? What stop? Oh, are you short? Well, we got 16 minutes until the breath's starting to pick up a little bit. The volume is increasing to the downside just a little bit here, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. It could just mean that shorts are starting to cover. Let's see what they do. I mean, earlier this morning, around like 10 Eastern time, they bought it off the VWAP, and it kind of looks like that's what they're doing again here. So let's see if they hold it up, or if they want to fix that mechanical low. And then the level down after that mechanical low would be 1450 probably. So they clean up that mechanical low. Now let's see what they've got here. So basically they're looking at this like, okay, mission accomplished. Now if sellers are going to be active, they're going to have to come down and initiate lower prices here. It doesn't seem like they're really being super aggressive, right? It's just kind of pausing right here. Let's see if they can pick up a little bit of tempo. And we've got today's VPOC down there at 41.1450-ish as well. So there is some buyers below. But it does look like sellers are trying to come in and try to smother price a little bit to try to, you know, gather inventory. If any of you guys, short one ES covering at 20, my stop was up there at 41.41. Nice. That was a good short. Fuck, now I forgot what I was saying. Oh, on Friday, if any of you guys were watching the market, we saw a big bid or big offer, actually, rather, sitting above price pretty much all day until, you know, until the later end of the day where the market swallowed that offer and started moving up. But it was basically just like a, you know, the old Trapperooski, where it just held price down long enough to gather up a bunch of inventory, right? There was this big offer, and I think it was sitting on 41.30 pretty much like the whole time. It was just sitting there. Price would come up, it would come down, come up, come down, and then finally ended up breaking. And so what I imagine is that this offer that was at 41.30 was from a buyer who was buying it every time price pulled back. They would buy it up, buy it up, buy it up, and then eventually they moved that offer so they could come up higher and get rid of all the inventory that they just scooped up lower. And so you know, that's if any of you guys watched that on Friday, that's pretty much what was going on. Friday was a really mechanical, easy to call day. Like Friday I literally called it to the tick. It was insane. Every once in a while I gotta give some free candy out to Jared, so he doesn't starve. All right, if they take this low, they're gonna be looking for that VPOC down at 15, 1450, 15-ish area. They've just been having a little bit of struggles getting down here, it looks like. Starting to see a little buying step up, but it doesn't look very strong here. It just kind of looks like short covering with a little combination dip buyers, but nothing really too crazy. And see if these sellers move out of the way and this thing starts to go. A little bit of buying moving up here, but they're holding it now for now. Yeah. 10 minutes until the next session opens up. That tick is coming back down. There it goes. So it extended the downside by like 2 ticks right there, maybe 3 ticks, and then rebounded about 3 points. that just shows you the tempo of the downside, right? Like we've been going down here now for about, I mean, basically for 30, well, for like the past 20 minutes, right? From D period, opened up, touched the open, and then has been since coming down, but it's been coming down so slow, right? Now we're back up at the VWAP 41.21 quarter. So let's see if they try to sell off of the VWAP, or if these buyers are able to get established back above the VWAP, back above this point of control from Friday, they'll probably try to push the price higher. It just doesn't seem like there's enough supply really to start shoving price down the throats of everybody. But remember, and this is the key thing that you've got to remember, that just because the volume is low doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to go up. What can happen on low volume is the market can still go down because there's no big money buying, right? You've got to remember that. That's a key thing. Is you get on and you're like, oh, it's low volume, the market's down, it's gonna bounce because there's no sellers to keep selling. But it can also go down because there's nobody buying, right? So I'm gonna look at this real quick. Um, so I had a couple of things that I'm looking at as far as some plays coming up. So, oops, I wanted to look at, what did I have? The Swiss franc. So a couple of plays that I'm looking for. I'm looking for a continuation in the Swiss franc. I think there might be some opportunity. There's some buying coming in there, some decent buying for the first time in a while for the buyers. Down at that low, about the on the 20, there was some. Um, but so there is some opportunity here. We can see we've come down on the Swiss franc, and back to a previous balance, and then bounced up. So I'm kind of thinking it goes up here to this 107 level. There might be some opportunity up there. Another one that I'm looking up is the New Zealand dollar. Looks like it has maybe some opportunity to come back up into these upper ranges as we start to see things, start to balance out a little bit. Another one I was looking at was oil. Right, we've talked about oil being in our range for a long time. I was watching the 117 level for a breakout. Got it this morning, so but I closed the trade already because I don't like to hold oil positions because they just are so dangerous. There's a reason they call CL the widowmaker, because people lose all their money on it and then go back to their wife and tell them that they lost all their money, and then their wife leaves them. So if you do trade oil, right, just be careful. But it's since come back into our kind of balance range on the weekly level. So just keep monitoring it. But above that 117 is, if it holds above that 117, that could be bad for the market, and oil could be coming back up to try to test those highs. Another one I wanted to watch was gold. Gold futures, you can see, are coming back down to one of our support levels. I've been really patient with gold. Gold hasn't been doing like really much at all until it does something, which is kind of how gold trades. So a lot of times you got to be in a position before it starts to go, and it can definitely punish you just like oil can. But it had come down to this prior support where we had seen resistance and support. And so if it were to not be able to get back down there, or you can see we're kind of in this daily balance right here, if it breaks up above that 1868, there could be some opportunity for some upside to test up to that 1900, and that could be a nice decent play. If is no, the Aludinium, or however you say it, the shit they make lightsabers out of, has peaked down into a lower balance, has since come back up and is coming back up to a resistance. So if it is able to break up above this resistance and really above that 2000, seems to me like a very reasonable, easy to see number to keep the price above. So it makes sense that it wants to come to keep trading up. So I'm gonna be definitely watching that. And then the VIX today was more of just a day trade. We can see it's coming back down to a support, and so I'm thinking, maybe people are not done, right? Because the VIX doesn't trade like a normal market, but the VIX does do this. It goes like this. It's almost like a heartbeat, right? It'll just be like that's kind of how it just trades. And so it's tough to time it, right? But the VIX futures contracts are, if you just get some time, you can just kind of hold on to them forever, and eventually they'll make you some money. At least that's my experience with the VIX futures. Just get time. Time will time will crush you if you don't have it. So look for buyers to try to buy up above the 27 here. You can see we've kind of have this real thin spot right here at the 28. So they need to get above this level, fill in this level, and try to push back up towards the open if they want to get anything going here. If not, they're going to be dealing with it. So. Starting to see a little bit of selling here. Doesn't look super strong though. Buying coming in. Not super strong yet though. A lot of selling up here. People trying to sell this like recent rally up at 27. I'm gonna try a long right here from 23. Stop's gonna be probably like 19-ish. Looking for that 27.30 level. Be right back. Oh, well, shit. Well, damn. That didn't work out, did it? Come back and it's already closed. So E period opens up. Oh, fuck, I didn't even realize it was the end of E. Let's see what they give us. That was my bad. Look for that 15 below here if E takes that low. What's interesting here is you see, we saw that the VPOC shifted up. So the VPOC was here on the 15, 1450-ish, shifted up. E opens up and starts trading down. So let's see if they get any continuation now that they tap that 15. So there's the impulse, able to get those D stops. And let's see, monitor that 19. Above 19, you'll probably start to see a bit of a squeeze. And then at the 23, I think, is where a lot of sellers poured in. Back above that impulse. Yeah, so watch above this 19 for a bunch of short covering, I think, is where we're going to see it. Definitely could be wrong, obviously. Nothing. There's just no initiating by either side here.
Dude, it's a great day to just like nickel and dime the market because it's just making such big like fluctuations in the same spot.
Yeah, if you're just careful and get close to the edges, yeah.
Mm-hmm. You could have almost damn near hit the reverse. I mean, I don't suggest it, but you could have damn near just hit the reverse button just like 5 different times right there.
Nobody listened to Jared. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
I know. Don't listen to me. Just saying. Could have just longed it, reversed, shorted it, reversed.
I mean, to me, this kind of looks like they're just holding price below the VWAP to scoop up all this inventory, and they're just going to take it back up to the 30. Um, that's what it looks like to me. And then at the 30, they'll decide, like, okay, are sellers going to be active again at the 30 because that's where they were active at last time, or, uh, you know, are they going to let it go? And then above 30, it probably goes to 40, the open, 38. But it doesn't look like, I mean, it just doesn't look like buyers are ready to step up yet. They're just kind of hanging out, just we've been trading sideways for a while now, like Jared's saying. But yeah, I mean, I agree. Today is not one of those days where you want to get in a trade and let it get up like 2 or 3 points and then let it come back to your entry because it's not really very decisive in the later stages like it was earlier in like the B and C period. Even D period. I mean, D period on the way down was so slow and disgusting that you know, it was just choppy on the way down for the most part. The VWAP's at 41.21, so right where price is at right now. Daily VWAP. It's a cash only VWAP, the one that I'm looking at. So the breadth on the NYSE is picking up a little bit here, 2-1, but the weighted sectors you can see are not matching it. There's a little bit of a divergence here if you look. So this is the unweighted line and this is the weighted line, and you can see the weighted line is kind of picking up a little bit, and the unweighted line, I mean, it's just now starting to pick up. So let's see if we can get up here. 27 to 30 seems to be the spot that sellers were active. If buyers are going to show any life, that's kind of where their target has to be, is up there, that 23 to 30 level. Little seller moves down here on the 27, like we thought. 27 to 30 is going to be this resistance, so it might get a little bit choppy inside this area. See a little bit of pullback here from that 27, but it looks like that's where it wants to go. E high, mechanical high, right at that D half back. I still think the D high is mechanical as well, up at 38. So really above this 27.30, if it's able to pop above it, hold it as support, the levels up. I mean, basically you're seeing today at least, it looks like people are selling like every 5-point increments and just kind of averaging in and probably putting their stop above the high and their stop below the low, averaging in on the way down. So, you know, a break of either side is probably going to cause a bigger move, I imagine. So if you are doing that, fading the edges, like, you know, what you should be doing so far, since we're still in balance, and it gets close to one of those edges, don't just try to hold on hoping that it's going to come back into value and trade back up, right? If it goes, that's going to be the opportunity to monitor for continuation, especially if it goes to the upside. As we know, there's still a lot of weak-handed traders with overnight inventory short as well. Morning, Otto. How's it going? Big trend line right here also. We'll probably be telling whether it's area remains support or resistance. Are you talking about on the ES? Let's see. Are you looking at a daily chart? Oh, is this like a resistance line? I think you're talking about. Yeah, depending upon where you draw it at, I guess. Yeah. The key thing here that I'm monitoring, right, is still like we're above balance, but we're still above that 4101, right? And that 4101 is kind of the key level of this monthly balance, needs to keep it above, right? 4144 is the key level that buyers want to get it above to close the month out, which is at the end of the day today, so we can say that we had a positive month, right? So there's that 4130, you know, I actually got stopped out on this trade the first try, tried it a second time, and it's working this time. So, you know, sometimes you got to go for it more than once. And that's a key thing too. It's like you know, you think about a trade, you take a trade, it gets stopped out fairly quickly. Like I literally said I was going to get long at the 23, and it came, by the time I went to the bathroom and came back, I was already stopped out. It came back down to that 19 and it held, so I got filled 22.75, 22.75, 22.75, closed 129 quarter, and still have 2 runners left. But you know, sometimes that trade is not going to work out right away. But when we had the E break and then it came right back past the impulse and held, VPOC was still here, that 19 quarter. That's what I was talking about, where it held the 19. I liked that. Got back into the Globex range, and then that's where I longed from 22.75. The black line is daily VWAP. This is a weekly VWAP. Weekly VWAP, my friend. Yeah, it's a weekly VWAP. And then for Bitcoin, what we'd like to see, right, if you're looking for Bitcoin to keep going up, we finally broke out of this little balance that we've been talking about. You can see it held right here. Sellers tried to come in and short again. They busted them. And so now we're holding up here in this level. So if it does pull back, I'd like to see it hold that weekly view up, that 3100, 31,200, and then look to test some higher levels up here. We don't have a ton of resistance, as most of that downside was mainly liquidation. So, you know, if you are shorting Bitcoin repeatedly over and over, just be careful. You know what I mean? You can get punished. A lot of people have been punished since Sunday. I'm being honest. Damn it. I was just trying to move my take profit up, but missed it. All right, I'm flat on that trade. Damn it. It's acting as a fairly strong resistance until 527 when it flipped to support. We'll be watching to see if it slips back to resistance or not. You said March 529. Take a peek. What do you say? March 29th. Okay. Oh, so it's here at the top. Okay, I see. Yeah, it just keeps going. What a little bitch. So look for this resistance 35.37 above that. Wants to go tag that 40, and then above the 40, where we looking for that 48, that spike base, and get back into that spike from Friday and look to maybe test some higher prices here. But today still with the volume is more of just a fade the edges day, so you don't want to just be sitting in the trade just waiting for it to work out for you. You want to be in it, you want to be out of it. Put your right elbow in, put your right elbow out, hokey pokey. You know what I mean? Still 60% less volume than Friday. Facebook has flipped green as well, and Apple's getting right to its open and starting to get a little bit of upside. So basically what we're seeing here, pull this over, you can see here's our unweighted line and here's our weighted line. So our weighted sectors are our Apples, our Googles, our Teslas, our Facebooks, our Amazons, our Microsofts, right? They are kind of leading the way up here. So if we start to see the unweighted sectors start to catch up, that could really cause some upside, right? We're going to be focusing here on this breadth. As we've seen the breadth be, you know, kind of flip-floppy today, back and forth from green to red. So if it does flip green, that could give us a little bit of insight that the market might be trying to go up more. Hmm. A little bit of buying coming in here. Apple's starting to break above its open. Morning, Auto. Got your trade early, 50 points at MNQ, so only sim now after the market has been very choppy around 12,600. Yeah, it has. Bitcoin's starting to look to the upside as well here. Okay, 49.29 is the May 2021 low. I've been watching that level pretty hard this past 4 to 8 weeks. Also, I'm watching to see if that holds. Also noticeable that last week's halfback falls just underneath of that. My guess is that we'll be back at some point this week. Perhaps I'll look below and fail. Too early to call yet. I mean, on a monthly level, it does look like a look below and fail, but that's on a lot bigger scale. Um, a lot bigger scale. You know what I mean? Like, so it's a monthly look below and fail, not necessarily an intraday look below and fail, like kind of how we have today, right? Like we looked below yesterday's value, Friday's value, didn't like what we saw, came back into value, and now we're trading back to the high of the value. You know, looking to test that 40 up here because now we're at that resistance 37. The open 37.38. Nice poke. Nice. Got some losses back. You know, this too shall pass. An easier way to look at that. So there goes the break. Let's see if we get up there to test that 40. And this is why you don't hit the reverse button. Just so you guys know. That's why I said Jared doesn't know what he's talking about, so don't listen to him. Yeah, it's a higher time frame perspective. Yeah, exactly. But if we look at the ES on the daily, and so you're looking back, you know, 2021 levels, but remember this gap right here? We have a gap from 4037 to 4017, I think it was, like that, right? So we came down into that gap and fixed that gap, and that gap had been there since April 2021, right? So we had come back down into that gap. It acted as resistance while we were below it, but then as soon as we got above it, we really never looked back. And if you look at the low of this bar, it's 40.39, right? And so if we look back here at this gap, right? Oh, this is because it's a 24-hour chart. But I mean, basically, since it got up above, because it was a 40.37 to 40.17, I mean, you can just kind of see right here, we put in those single prints that C period wasn't able to close, right? So it left this one single print right here at that 30.75, and then really this E low is just that 39 that got above that gap and really never looked back. And this day is a day that kind of trapped a bunch of shorts. Because they weren't paying attention. So now we're breaking the high. And remember what I said, if we do break the high, you might see a lot of short covering start to happen. So this move could start to run. So you want to be careful here. Nice. Yeah, that 21. So remember that gaps are going to act as support and resistance. And so the market's going to go back. It's basically a level that it skipped over and didn't get a chance to decide if it wanted to value price, right? And so when it goes back to those gaps, it fills it in. And then we see, you know, if the buyers still want to hold that gap, because gap is excess, right? So if we're above a gap, that means that the buyers pushed price up and caused a gap. So that lets you know that there's some initiating buyers or some responsive buyers at that level, and they weren't met with any resistance and then popped it right back up. The daily trend. Yeah, if you draw, I mean, you could draw a little bit steeper one. This one's kind of, if we look over here on like our actual chart. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of breaking out of that. I don't know. I mean, oops. What the fuck? Oh, what happened here? I really think this is the target. That's 42.64 quarter. I think that's the target today. It just makes sense, but you know, I won't be surprised if we get back accepted and balanced. One thing and if we just close, you know, inside this balance, one thing I kind of expect them to try is to come back up to that 50, and if it's able to close above the 50 and repair these highs, you might see some people show up and start to buy, and it could test up higher, right? We got all this fake good news this weekend, so it makes sense that the market wants to try to squeeze up. And you see it happening now, back up to that spike base. That overnight point of control is at 62, and what do we say, 64? What level is it? 64.50 is the level I have on my paper. I ignored a lot of wicks for that one. Oh yeah, deeper candle. Oh okay, yeah, and that's the thing is like, so for me, what I do, the reason I draw it from like tip to tip, even though you could cut it through wicks, you could not cut it through wicks. It's just all personal preference. If you cut through wicks, sometimes it can give you a little bit of early acceptance, and it can tell you that the trend has broken and now it's time to go with the trend. Or sometimes also, if you draw these trend lines too closely, it can give you a fake breakout signal, and then you know, that was gay. Can't whistle right now. But yeah, you know, the Nasdaq breath is flipped to green. This is something that we talked about that we were looking for. I can show you the world. Back up into this spike. Once we get above the saddle, we will test the overnight high. A whole new world. I swear you could put any lyrics to that song easily. Yearly VWAP is currently at 43.39. It's been kind of looking to me like price has been making its way up to that. Again, a higher time frame view. Yeah, that would make sense to me. I mean, I've been, I've had my eye on this level here for a while now. Oops. This like 4300 4303 level, just because we had so many daily bars end at that level, right? So to me, it would just kind of make sense to go up, at least just clean that up a little bit, right? At least a little cleanup, and then come back down, test that monthly balance low, and then from there decide which way the market wants to go, right? But like on a higher time frame, it's so hard to just be like, oh well, this is what's going to happen, especially every single day something changes, right? That's the advantages for us being intraday traders, is that it's nice to try to predict and to be right and stuff like that, but we've got to make sure that we maintain perspective on what is going on today, right? And I'm not saying don't look back at the charts, right? I look at the monthly, weekly, daily every single day. So I'm not saying get away from that, but what I'm saying is remember that we've got to remember what's going on right now, right? So if we look at this here, we look at the monthly, right? And the monthly is kind of a look below and fail, but the trend in the monthly is still down, right? To really hit a up trend, we're gonna have to get back above this trend line here. I'm not gonna draw it because there's just no point. Okay. On the weekly, you can see we're had kind of a lower balance and then opened up higher back into this monthly balance and looking back up into this range. So the weekly is kind of heading up as well, but the weekly is still in a downtrend, right? A little bit less steep here on the weekly, room up to that 4,400, you would say, to fight the trend. And then on the daily, the same idea, but the daily is coming a lot closer to the trend, right? I mean, even if you just drop from the all-time high, still has a lot of room, that 4,400 up by that 200 SMA. And then we zoom into the profile, right? Make it a little bit bigger here so we can see, and we can see that value today is overlapping to higher, and we're getting back into that spike to see a little bit of resistance here. So we expect some resistance, that 41.57, 41.48 level, now that price has got back up there. And it looks like that we're going to open up with some single prints. And this is kind of like what I was talking about when we get these days, these inside days, right? We were inside the balance from yesterday. Typically, once it decides which way that it wants to break, it gets a pretty decent sized move and could possibly turn into a trend day, especially with the low liquidity, low volume, not really a lot of people looking to sell, people being more responsibly selling than initiated selling today. And, in reality, we just had to wait to let them work it out. And then now that they've worked it out, we just continue to, to go with. We had bread? Where was it?
Over there.
No. Yeah, exactly. This too shall pass. Like, it's always good to notice stuff like that and then use it as confluence, right? That's how that trade last week was able to work out so well for me. Because like everything was just kind of lining up and everything was agreeing, and so I decided, you know what, this is something that I like that's happening. I'm gonna put some money in it. 43.11 quarters, key high bib. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like a lot of things are just lining up, you know what I mean? And we got a ton of good news over the weekend, right? Like I said, fake good news, but good news nonetheless. It's the end of the month today, so they want to, if you could finish on your balance sheet and tell your investors, hey, down market, but we finished up this month. People become a little bit less scared, right? A little bit less fear comes in the market there, and that allows the market to trade to the upside, right? When there's a lot of fear, and if we keep trading down, some of these people that are, their 401k, their retirement account, whatever it is, they start calling their broker and they say, hey, what the fuck is going on here? I'm down 20% for the year. Like, should I find somebody else? You want me to call JP Morgan and get your shit together? Get some inside information like the rest of these fucking people, something like that. So it it just makes sense that they try to finish, a positive month, positive week last week, hey guys, we're still doing it. Don't take your money out. Because what happens is, that's what happens. Some of the bigger players that are invested in some of these higher leverage funds trying to, make a pretty penny quickly, they call and they're like, buddy, if you can't get it done, I'll find somebody that can. So, I'll pull my $100 million or whatever it is from your hedge fund, and that can really hurt because they're going to have to liquidate a bunch of positions in order to give this guy his money. If something happens like that. This is all, hypothetical, just using my imagination to assume what's going through the heads of, most people. And not really, I don't know if I'll call it imagination, more just human psychology is what it is. And it's kind of what we trade, right? We trade overnight inventory. Like, we just trade that human psychology. Overnight inventory is 100% net short. Let's say it's not, but let's say it was, then we kind of expect 70% chance that there'll be a correction because those overnight hands are weak. Because most of the people trading Globex are the beginners, right? Even if they're on the pro level, they're still on the practice squad, right? Or on the B team, or coming off the bench. They're not starting the game yet, right? Or else they'd be trading the cash session. F high is mechanical off that settle. Let's see if Bitcoin's going to take that high. Watch the 62. That's that overnight point of control. A lot of times it can act as a magnet, pull price right back up to there. Yeah, it did. It kind of came down there, tapped a little bit, and then it checked the second time during E period. It checked below one more time, but wasn't able to find any friends down there. And I actually got stopped out on E period and then got back in during E period. It stopped me out. I've only taken long trades today. I haven't taken any short trades. Same as last week, actually. Last week I didn't take one short trade. 61 resistance. Yeah, that 60, yeah, right there around that level. This is that prior day high and the top of the spike at 57, and then Globex point of control 62-ish. Yeah, 61, 62-ish. Somewhere around there. Joe H, thank you for the sub, man, on YouTube. I didn't even see it till just now, 39 minutes ago. Sorry about that. We had the last up here. You guys remember, from Friday, we had the settle here at 55 3/4, and then the last trade was up at 68. So that could be a target, or a selling opportunity for these responsive sellers to try to sell up here. So if we get back to that 62 to 68, I imagine there's going to be a bit of resistance up there. news. The weekly open was 64.5. Yeah, so a lot of things just lining up. So a lot of things lining up right here to try to make it so, um, you know, give sellers the opportunity to responsibly respond here. Yeah, I mean, there's just two key levels that buyers are going to want to hold above today, and that's going to be the 41.44 and the 41.01. Right, so a pretty big level, but I mean, right now we've got single prints down below on east side over that 41.44, so really not really trying to fade this spike very much. We're just looking to find a pullback that wants to take me with it. A little bit of a volume increase in that last period, still 54% less than yesterday, or than Friday, I mean, but a little bit of a volume increase here. 13 watching and 13 likes. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for smashing that like button. Look at the sectors here. Now that we're starting to see it, you're starting to see some sectors flip green up here at the top. You're starting to see the unweighted start to try to catch up to the weighted sectors, and now we're starting to see the some selling coming in up here at the top, or at least some liquidation from the people that are long down below. Let's see if this if the breath picks up and switches to positive here on the NYSE. The advanced decline is still, negative 950. So still a decent amount of stocks going down compared to going up. But as far as the weighted sectors are going, it's not happening. And basically what that does is that tells you, okay, I need to keep my eyes on some of the bigger names today because that's what's keeping the market up. So if those names start to roll over, the market can roll over, or if those names continue to power to the upside, the market can definitely continue powering to the upside. Breaking: Michael Sussman, the lawyer for the Hillary Clinton campaign, has been acquitted of lying to the FBI during the early days of Trump Russia probe. Clinton campaign lawyer acquitted from lying to the FBI. So imagine if you lie to the FBI you know, and they fucking shove pineapples up your ass for the rest of your life. But this guy just gets to go off because he knows some people. So frustrating. You said 180 would be the next major level after 161. 180 on what? Oh, 41 180 or 4180 for you. Yeah. Decide. Oh, if it decides if it's going to keep going. Yeah, it'll be interesting. You know, today's the end of the month. It'll definitely be interesting. I definitely think that 4101 level is not safe, and it'll probably get tested again at least once. Um, but you know, this is kind of what happens. You know, during these situations. The interesting thing is that the dip was bought like 20%. Basically, we were down below 20% for like 3/4 of a second, and I mean, you're just seeing, you know, a pretty decent response and a lot less selling. And if we look, this is something that I monitor all the time. Let me pull it up. We can look at it. So COT. Okay, so I tend to look at the COT report pretty much every week. We can go ahead and get rid of small traders because nobody gives a shit. But you can see, you know, the last time that we had kind of this green across the red, and so green is large speculators, hedge funds, investment accounts, blah blah blah. Commercial is the dealers, basically. So the sell side of the market, and we can see they had like kind of this choppy area. Investment money started getting long, long, long. The investment money started selling, and then on this most recent dip, you see the price coming down. It looks like buyers are kind of buying that up, right? So that's just definitely something to note. We can see that open interest pretty much was flat, and then if we go back to here, we can kind of see that. Let me make it small so I don't black everything out. So here's the S&P 500, and the columns that I'm paying attention to are these two columns here. And so we can see open interest changed 0, so not a lot of new positions opened up last week. But the net positions are short, right, for commercials. And commercials, we know, are the dealers. So if dealers got 45% more short this week or the last week compared to this week, and remember, this is a delayed report as of last Tuesday. So the 24th, a week ago, people were buying, which makes sense, obviously, because since last Tuesday we're up a bunch. So that's not really giving us much insight into this week, but it does tell us at least that bigger money or large speculators did buy the dip. It's just more of confirmation than anything. It doesn't say, you know, it's not necessarily saying that we're going to continue to the upside, but it just lets us know that 20% level, which was, what was that 20% down level? 20% down was, oh,
AMD just took a 50-cent drop.
well, damn. Apple's coming down as well.
Yeah, Apple's gonna go negative here in a moment. Oh, Microsoft already is negative.
Yeah, Microsoft flipped back to red. So 20% was like 38.50 basically. AMD is still trying to hold above that weekly zone. What happened here? F is going for those single prints, trying to fill them in. Well, let's see if it can fill them. AMD's coming back down. Bitcoin's coming back down to that value area high.
Apple's right on the border to go negative.
Yeah, I'm watching that. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. No, sorry.
AMD take a dip right there.
No, because at the top of the minute, my numbers are recalculating, and sometimes they get a little screwy, and it was showing a P count of 20 times what it was per
Oh, damn.
second. So I was like, but yeah, now it's back.
We may end up balancing between weekly open and weekly VWAP more or less the rest of the afternoon. The ES. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. We have a lot of economic data coming out this week as well. Let me pull up the economic calendar real quick. So we can see, I mean, nothing really on the docket for today left really, as you can see. But if we go to tomorrow, we've got these the 30-year mortgage rate that comes out tomorrow, 4 a.m. my time. We have LaGuardia speaking, the mortgage market. This is going to be interesting because I've been hearing from some friends that they are doing variable rate mortgages. They're bringing them back. And that's not necessarily, the greatest thing in the world. Then we have employment, ISM, manufacturings, the JOLTS, the job openings for April, and that's on tomorrow. And then for the rest of the week, where is Wednesday? Wednesday we have the mortgage refinance index, so more things on housing. Then we have manufacturing PMI right at the open. Make sure it's on time frame. You see the 1797. Yeah, then we have the Dallas Fed. Then we have the API weekly crude oil stock. That could be an interesting one. That's after the market closes, so you could get some action from that through Globex. Then we have initial jobless claims, and this is on Thursday. We also have non-farm payrolls and non-farm employment change. So these could be movers in the market. And then for the rest of that day, we've got crude oil inventories, a bunch of commodity information. And then leading into Friday, we have a ton of economic data coming out with average earnings, non-farm payrolls, participation, private non-farm payrolls, employment rate, unemployment rate, PMI, ISM manufacturing PMI, non-manufacturing PMI. Then we have Fred Brainerd. Then we've got some oil people talking. And then we have all the net positions coming out of commodity about 30 minutes. The COT report basically comes out 30 minutes before the close on Friday. So, for me, I almost hope. Oh, we filled those single prints. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I almost hope that we do balance this week, because if we balance for the entire week, we can get a better insight on what the big money is trying to do with that COT report on a balance, because we'll get to see what their positions are from that Tuesday if price is relatively unchanged, right? Because if we were to take a look at the ES, right? Look at the daily, and we can see last Tuesday, which was the 24th, we saw they obviously bought this dip right here, right? Big money bought this dip, but that doesn't really help us because, you know, we're about 100-ish points higher, right? So we know that they bought the dip, not extensively, but they did buy the dip. So if we did balance for the rest of the week, shit, notifications, fuck out of here. If it did balance for the rest of the week, it would give us a little bit of insight because the COT reports come out today. So it'll be interesting to see what they do today on their report. And the only way that that would help us is if price opened up inside balance, right? If it opens up here next week or down here next week before those reports come out, it doesn't really give us any valuable information, really. So peak above that spike high and then came back down into it. Right back down to the open. Remember that 4130 level was a big level trying to get above from below. So if it does come down that far, we'll look to see if that 30 is going to act as support. And if we don't see a strong, I mean, honestly, we'd like to see a strong response right here off of this previous day value area high. But if not, we should be looking to see a strong response off of that 30, unless if not, the market might keep going down. All right, Luis, we'll see you later, man. Thanks for coming to hang out. Looks like we're right at the weekly view up as well right here. Let me see. Yeah, the weekly view up is right here at pretty much 4140. I pulled a muscle in my back this week and I was basically out of commission like this weekend trying to get it full strength. Nothing is as bad as just pulling a muscle in your back, and just everything that you try to do is just miserable. So Apple's flipped to red, Microsoft is red, Google's up 2%, Amazon's up 3.5%, Tesla's up 1%, Facebook is up 0.5%. You know, so kind of Apple just holding the market down a bit right here is what it seems like. So on this upside, watch the 50 to 52 level if they're able to crack above here. Whoa, what did McConnell say? Psychopath. It may take a recession in order to crush inflation. McConnell. Is McConnell the one that looks like he looks like the fucking Sith Lord or whatever? Mitch McConnell? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you guys tell me. I mean, I know Star Wars isn't real, but fucking just saying. Suspicious. Inflation can't come down until unemployment goes up. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And that's the thing too, is like I think a lot of these issues are um caused by watch for the 50 if these buyers step up here, guys. Looks like the Sith Lord. um things people are gonna have to accept things are gonna be different, right? Or we're basically gonna have to go back to the old, kind of pre-COVID prices. And retailers, they don't want to do that because that cuts into their bottom line. And you know and buyers obviously do want that, right? Because they get cheaper products. So it's interesting to see the balance that Powell is trying to do. And basically what he's trying to do is make it so we don't go into a recession, or make sure the recession doesn't happen. In my opinion, the recession has already started. So it's just a matter of cleaning it up and fixing it, and tampering some of this employment would make sense. Yeah. And that's kind of what Powell said, right? He said that he wanted to crush demand because everyone just has access to free money. And you know how people are, like, oh, well, I got a fucking $10,000 credit card, let's max this bitch out. And then they max it out, and then they don't have any money to pay it, but money's still cheap, so they just transfer it to another credit card and pay their fucking $38 a month on it, and then get a new credit card and max that one out. And then eventually, because most of these credit cards are variable interest rates, those interest rates go up, and then their $38 payment, because it was like 1%, is now fucking 28%, and now they got to pay $400 a month, so they're paying a car payment on a credit card, and they're fucked, right? And then that's when you get credit defaults. That's when just the history of cycle of credit, right? There needs to be just more. Well, I mean, I guess you can't really do that either. You know what I mean? Like it should be tightening on who gets the money, but then it becomes subjective, and then then all these other things start to come into play that everyone plays, right? The white card mostly. Tong BBM. Thank you for the follow on Facebook, man. Thank you. Buyers lifting the offer here a bit. And there's a 420 lot order sitting on the 50, so that makes sense to assume as the target. above that 50, they'll look probably to try to get above the settle again and then test that overnight point of control 62-ish. At 68 last level. DJ, what's up, man? And right, this could be another thing where we just see this big offer that's sitting here at the 50, just hold price below it until they scoop up everything that they want to scoop up and then take price higher. Period's opening up. Let's see what we get. Sending good vibes. Appreciate it, man. Thank you, DJ. First thing to go right before everyone else figures out the recession has already arrived is consumer credit. Yes, it is. After that dries up, then commercial credit is next. Yes, that is. That's what I'll be buying, a bunch of commercial properties because they're going to be on fucking sale. Then the real bottom falls out. Yeah, I got a little nest egg waiting to buy some fucking real estate. Commercial real estate. I want to buy a grocery store next. Or the building that a grocery store goes in. Owned a pizza shop and, more of a headache than anything, so grocery store seems pretty self-sufficient. And I won't own the grocery store, it'll just be the building. And grocery stores seem like they want to pay their rent every month, so. Volume in that last period was still picking up, right? So we started off the day 83%. 83% less, and now we're about 50% less, 48% less here. So you too, your background is actually real estate, trading as a side hustle when I'm bored in between big real estate projects. Nice, yeah. Depending upon the state, you can lock out people after 3 days. Shit, not in California. In California, they can basically just live in your house for fucking ever. You have to just advise them like this is not a good idea for you to keep living in my house rent free, and if you do keep doing it, maybe a bear breaks into your house. This is Tahoe after all, so you never know. Yeah, in California, I mean, we haven't had any issues luckily, but I've heard in California a lot of people just stopped paying rent because their landlord couldn't do shit about it. Governor of Ukraine's Luhansk region says Russian airstrike hit nitric acid tank in some Ukrainian city and warns of toxic fumes. And someone just commented below it, bullish. So there's that 50. That's what we were expecting. Now let's see if some buyers jump up here and start to take this settle back. Or let's see if that excess is going to maintain, but it doesn't look promising. It does look like buyers are getting out right here, actually. It looks like some profit taking here. So let's see if we get some initiated buying. Kind of looks like buyers are taking profit up here though. Now with that big offer that was sitting on the 50, I actually didn't see if it traded. I wasn't paying attention, but if it did, these buyers are going to be wanting to hold above that 50 level in order to continue to get some prices higher. Yeah, you had 3 rentals in Cali. Yeah, yeah. We got lucky; didn't have any issues, but um, I know people that did. We kind of had an issue, I guess. Just that one bitch that was working at Hell's Kitchen just decided that she was gonna just not answer any phone calls or not do anything, and her lease was up. And my brother's moving up to the house in Tahoe. Well, he's gonna live on one side of the duplex because we're building that cabin up there. So, um, but you know, one day he just came back and all of her shit was gone. So it was kind of cool. Well, I guess you're doing. So, double place in Tahoe? Yeah, yeah. We got a duplex and a cabin that's getting built. Oh, you lived in Truckee? Nice. Yeah, I've been through. I mean, been through Truckee a lot. You know, going snowboarding my whole life. Nice, nice, nice. All right, let's get up there and see if we can get it back above the settle and get this continuation to the upside. The top of the 19-year market cycle. You sold all your rentals? Damn. Sounds like a lot of fucking work. See, I don't know about that, right? So let's look at something. Hang on a second, I'm texting my sister. Trying to help her husband get a better job. Okay, so let me pull this up. I want to look at some Fred charts real quick. Fred Flintstone. Fred who? Fred. Those Fed. Okay, let's look at. Okay. So this is a Fred chart, right? And this tells us existing home sales inventory. So we can see there was no inventory in January, right? So prices started to get high. Everyone's like, I'm not fucking selling. They pulled that Wolf of Wall Street. And you can see, and this is the beginning of the year, market topped out. Housing prices have started, or housing sales have started to kick back on a little bit more. And then if we look at inventory has just been on a steady increase basically forever. And so this is kind of my thought behind that. I don't know if there's one for, oh, here's the California index. This is the one I look at a lot. Um, so let's say even if prices did pull back down, I really don't see them pulling back down much more. Um, so like let's say the average cost is, because basically this is what the housing market looks like. I mean basically since 2020 it's just been climbing up. It started at the bottom, but now it's starting to kind of flatten out and even start to turn down a little bit. Um, the prices of housing, right? And so I'm thinking that, you know, a lot of people are assuming that there's going to be a crash in housing, but I don't think so. I think it's going to come down. It's going to settle. You're going to see a lot of people start to sell. That's where I'm at here with my Pac-Man suit on, just ready to eat up all this fucking commercial real estate, and then I think price will start to balance. Um, the reason I'm more gearing towards commercial because I think that, you know, if a war does break out, then the U.S. knows how to do one thing really well, and that's make shit for war. And we'll go back to kind of like an industrial country, which is where we make our bread and butter. America thrives off of industrial type moves. Yeah, I do think that we are starting to roll over in housing prices. I agree with that. I just don't think the pullback is going to be as big as everyone thinks. So, you know, obviously you don't want to be buying all of your properties all at once, but you do want to slowly ease in when you get back to support of housing prices. And the easiest way to do that, right? Like if you're looking at houses, um, let's just look on Redfin or something like that. Let's see if they have it. Um, let's just look in Antioch. So we got a 3 bed, 3 bath, 300,000 square feet. Right, these are the houses in my area and how much they cost. A super waste of fucking money because the area is just not that nice. Um, let's see if it has it at the bottom. I'm normally looking at it on the app, so let's see. Okay, here we go. So sales history. So we can see 2009 or 2017, 540. Someone sold it again a little bit later, 541. Probably the same thing, and somebody's just listed it um, at 800K. So this house hasn't been in the cycle very much. You guys want to look into the hood and see where a hood house is at? Let's see, where are we at? Here's the hood, East 18th Street. You see prices get a little bit cheaper down here. So here's 175,000, 2 bedroom, 2 baths, 1,100 square feet. Nice little starter house for somebody and cheap in this area, right? Um, super cheap in this area. Where's this fucking thing at? I think doesn't do a good job of giving us what we want. Let's go Zillow. And the only reason I'm going to East 18th is because it's kind of a ghetto ass area, and housing should be a little bit cheaper in this area. Nobody's fucking slanging though. $0. What's the deal here? Oh, there it is. Okay, so here's a better, Zillow does a good job. So you can see back 2014, and just look how steep the housing is, and you can see it starting to roll over. You know, I could see this coming back down like to 600K, a house like this. It's almost a million right now, 5 bedroom, 3 baths, 3,000 square feet, right? These California houses are just fucking gigantic. Um, But yeah, the housing did dump, but it didn't last long. That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it'll last as long as we think. You might get an opportunity to get to get into the game, but yeah. You're on the East Coast. Where are you at? That's where I'm moving. I'm moving to the East Coast at the end of the month, and so that's where I'm looking to get some property. One question: do you use low, high volume nodes as reference points or targets? I use them as reaction points, Sato. So I'm looking for them to, so if we're looking at like high volume nodes, like I'm still sitting in this trade waiting for us to hit 6250, but more using them to just see the reaction. You know what I mean? Yeah, this too shall pass. We honestly, it's all speculation. There's nobody that knows for sure. I mean, but if you've been in the biz since '98, you definitely have more a better insight than I do. That's for sure. Because in '98 I was not even in high school. That's one thing I'm definitely keeping a keen eye on as well too, is those interest rates. Yeah. And that'll be interesting. Tomorrow we get that uh that rate change to see. Because so basically the housing interest works is if the interest rates go up and prices of houses go down, it's really kind of a moot point, right? It doesn't really do anything. It just makes it harder to get a house, but the price of the house really relatively remains the same. Because the interest rate is high, the price comes down lower. You just pay it on the back end instead of the front end. I mean, really pay the whole thing on the fucking back end. But um, under 200K, what's that volume? No way, is it? Maybe not. Oh no, we're like 1.2 mil. What's under 200K? But yeah, so like if interest rates come up and housing prices come down, then that's kind of balance for the most part. What's the bad thing is when interest rates go way up and housing prices don't come down, then nobody can afford a house, right? Not nobody, but your average Joe can't afford a house like they can all through COVID and right now. And that is what scares me. And I'm sure this too. Like you've been in the business since '98. These variable rate mortgages are like just some of the most dangerous things you can get yourself into, um, in my opinion. Market's trying to get above that settle and hold again. Let's see if these buyers are going to step up. It does look like they are. About the what? Oh, you're in North Carolina? Oh, nice. I got a good buddy in there. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I agree. I don't think the bottom will last very long because people. I mean, that's like one of the things. That's like part of the American dream. You know what? To buy a house. So if it gets down cheap enough and you're in the right position, you've got cash on the sideline. You've been waiting for this to happen. It happens. People are going to be there, ready for that. What needs to happen or needs to make sure is to do something like where they limit, you know, who can buy. You know, like it should just be American citizens that are allowed to buy, because you get a lot of foreign investors coming over to the United States just buying up all the houses and then making everyone become, you know, forever renters. The problems are once adjustable, start adjusting, plus even with a fixed rate, once enough people are upside down in equity and need to sell for whatever reason, but they can't, they all just start walking. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely it's historic, right? It's a time where we're seeing things that we haven't seen before, right? So in '08 they had a lot of similar issues with inflation and stuff being overvalued, and you know, we're kind of seeing the market reprice it in, um, you know, but this time we have kind of a geopolitical conflict going on, and there's kind of a trade war going on, in my opinion, and so that's kind of putting a little bit of a hamper on everything. Honestly, I think uh if that war wasn't going on, then the bottom would have been last week. That would be it. We're gonna go up from here, and we definitely could, right? We definitely could just continue going up from here, um, into the end of the year, right? It's coming up to summertime. Maybe we'll see some sideways balance, but you know, this is different than every other year that we've seen. So a lot of times summer is pretty boring. It's tight ranges, not a lot of traders. Everyone's, you know, off in fucking Greece or France or, you know, somewhere that they haven't been. But this time they're not going to be doing those things. So they might be just taking shorter vacations and you know, maybe getting into the office a little bit more. Can we just have the 62 already? Jesus. I don't want to go ahead and say I think the bottom is in. Because there is a geopolitical issue. So I don't think that the bottom is in necessarily. But like I think that is really the biggest thing in they've been buying since the top. Also, they don't care much about the price. Clearly, yeah, I agree with that. They just want to own and control all the supply so no one else can. Facts, dude. That is just the facts of facts right there. That's all they want. They just want to own everything so they can be in charge. Because if you own the food, the water, the shelter, guess what else you control? Fucking everything. Because what do people need to survive? Food, water, shelter. And if you control all of that, they have no choice, right? Same thing they've done in the financial markets over the past year. It's incredible how the ruble bounced back. Not really. It's not surprising at all, to be honest with you. And I know a lot of people that actually caught that. I don't really fuck with forex, but I know a lot of people that caught it because it just didn't make sense. You know what I mean? Yeah, they got clapped with all these sanctions, but there's all these back doors and shit. So you're not gonna. That's like if the dollar were to drop to zero, like the ruble did. You tell me you wouldn't just start buying dollars? You know you would. You know what I mean? For sure. James, you know what we're doing next year? Oh, Double R, what's up, man? Yeah, I'm doing good. Thank you. Hope you're doing good as well. Um, Next year, James, we're gonna do the World Series of Poker. I've always wanted to do it. I've been talking about it for ages. I'm gonna start training up this year, and then next year I'm gonna do it. That's what I want to do. And James. All right, guys. Well, it's about 10 o'clock. We'll see what this next period gives us in this next 23 seconds, but I got a lot of stuff I'm trying to get done today. We're having a party this weekend for a going away from California party, I guess, like a retirement / moving party. So invite all my Californian people to come hang out. And then, we'll be fucking on our way to the East Coast, and, we'll be able to get a lot more done with the market hours. Would be a lot more beneficial for my schedule because I fucking hate waking up early. Yeah, I play poker. Yeah, I actually am a Korean Peninsula champion at poker. They had a poker tournament that lasted, I don't know, it lasted a while. James, you remember how long that tournament was? It was a few months. It was every Sunday cash, like, or not a cash game, but like a tournament game every Sunday, and then you scored points. And yeah, I won the whole thing. I love poker. It's all about probabilities and just being smart and patient. You know what I mean? I mean, you can also gamble. That shit. But bearish divergence on the 5 minute. Patience. Patience gets you paid, yeah. Well, dude, this too shall pass. That's what I've been saying. Like, it's scary to me that, you know, they're calling in fucking Jeff Bezos to decide to some of these supply chains. You know what I mean? Like, hey, what do you think? You know, you control the supply of everything. You know, it's kind of shitty. Uh, and then I kind of start looking back in history, right? And how did we used to get all of our shit around the United States? Well, it was by train. Okay, so and then what happened when the workers of the workers that worked on these trains started to unionize? Well, supply constraints, stuff started to get expensive, and then you know, so and that's kind of what I'm looking at. This looks like profit taking down here. Shorts that shorted that high taking profit right here. So be careful. If this thing doesn't get any continuation, it may pop back up. You know, and so that's what I'm thinking. I see that the New York Amazon, I think it was New York Amazon, are trying to unionize already. So if you get Amazon workers across the whole United States, which is a fuckload of people, start to unionize, you know, you've got to be looking back in that history book and trying to figure out what they're saying, you know, or what they're trying to get at. Ooh, Apple's coming down hard here. The breath's starting to pick up. Let's see what they've got. Microsoft's flip back to red. Amazon's flip back to, or no, Apple's. Well, Apple's coming close to its open. Still not below its open though. H low mechanical right on that G open. H high mechanical right at the base, right below, you know, one tick below the spike high. Volume's coming way down. Patience. Patience gets you paid. They own entire supply chains of everything that matters now. It's kind of scary and sobering, to be honest. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, what are you gonna do? Exactly. Like, what can you do? You need your shit. You know what I mean? You need to buy stuff to survive, so you're gonna have to use it. There's just not much. There's not much leeway in either direction. But yeah, I think call it here. I'm gonna go ahead and get some stuff done. The market is starting to slow a bit, but we are kind of holding these two distributions, even though they don't really appear to be double distributions. It does seem kind of like you're getting some value up here. We do have value down here, and this area here is kind of our, you know, no zone basically. So as long as we're up here in this level, we'll be looking for the market to hold and to take higher, right? We still haven't got up to that overnight point of control. And the last trade of that 41.68, I think, is going to be their target. What you can do is sign up for Prime. Yeah. Yeah, get it next day. To the low side, should this thing break down, we'll be looking for it to trade, you know, back into where all this value is at. We still have the VPOC down here, about 41.20, 41.21 is the half back from Friday. And then we have the VPOC over here, 41.28 from Friday as well. So you'd be looking for responsive buyers down there. Should the market break down below this 41.10 level pretty much to 4100, break down here and start to look to trade lower, that's going to show you a rejection of these upper prices, and then we're being back below that balance. As far as what I'm thinking for today, I think that today is just kind of a slow grind to the upside, maybe like a melt up or a bleed up or whatever they fucking call it. You know, I don't expect much. The volume is still down. Let me check for that last period. Volume 43% less than Friday, so not much going on that, right? We've seen them kind of holding price down below the 60 to 65, but above that you'll be looking towards that probably the Globex high, which is at 80. is where I would imagine maybe 78 to 80 be the next spot that we're seeing to look for resistance. Remember, Russia does not have to finance the war or borrow money from other countries. They have a lot of cash reserves, but instead US helps Ukraine. Where do you think the money comes from? So the money comes from other countries. Let me show you something. Let me show you this. Then we'll have to call it. The bearish divergence are slowly creeping up on the time frames. 6-minute bearish divergence. 6 minutes. You have a 6-minute chart on, DJ? Okay, so check this out. This is on the daily, but if we go monthly, you can see, and even if we do projected, we can see that most of the money is kind of flowing into the United States. And so that's where the money is going to come from. I think, in my opinion, is that, you know, Europe is going to get clapped, right? Europe's inflation hasn't turned over like technically ours did according to numbers. In Europe, inflation is getting higher. Oh, okay. You know, Europe inflation is getting higher, and then you switch them up. Oh, nice. So you know, I eventually just think that Europe's just going to get clapped, and all the people that were investing in Europe pull their money, and where they're going to go? They're going to go into the United States, right? Because basically over there in Europe, all these sanctions, they're having a tough time kind of investing in other stuff, right? So look at this. This was such an easy trade too. You know, like it just I mean, it just makes sense, right? If they can't buy any of their shit because their stocks are all worth nothing and their FTSE is worth nothing and whatever the DAX is worth nothing, you know, then they're gonna buy the S&P or buy some, you know, some Apple, like stuff like that. And so that's where I think a lot of the currency will come from, some of these other countries. You know, I'm still long Chinese bonds, because I think those Chinese bonds, you know, 10 years from now are going to be worth a pretty penny. So I keep buying Chinese bonds on this move down, because I think that's, you know, that's kind of the choice of America really is, should we stop sending money over there and you know, keep hoping that people keep buying American so we can keep, you know, affording to dish out money to everyone? Or should we just say, sorry, you know, China's our new best friend because they put together all of our shit. But, you know, being partners with, you know, communist country is not really acceptable for a lot of Americans when they've been told their entire life that fucking China's the bad guy. You know what I mean? Yeah, we had quite the streak on Fortnite last night. 17 out of 18 games in a row. It was a fucking massacre. Where do you buy the Chinese bonds? You can just look at CNY right here. So just type in CNYA or CNY, and I mean, really, you're kind of just looking for the, you know, what country you're in, but and you can see there. It was a 30-minute chart. They're not super liquid. But if we just look at the daily chart, you know, they've been starting to rebound pretty decently after getting just the beatdown of a lifetime. So and there's other ways to get involved as well. 24 minutes. What the fuck is that? Who even? That is that you traded on the ES or MES today? Oh, I guess probably the MES. Nice job. 33 lots, $773, 103 points on the MES for my dad. It's pretty fucking good. All right, guys, that is it. I gotta go to the couple of stores actually and get some shit. Get ready for this move. Going through all this stuff. So, I appreciate everyone hanging out. I will, you know, I'll be looking at the Discord. I'll probably be at the store, but if you need something or have a question, just shoot me a ping like at my name. Oh, you did 4 ES trades. Okay, nice. Mostly MES. Nice. But yeah, if you need anything, just ping me, and then if you have a question about the profile, just make sure to screenshot it because I won't have. Actually, I will because I have Connect, so I will be able to look at the profile. 8 minute, 9 minute, 10 minute. All right, see you later, Dad. See you, Trin. Thank you. Yeah, other than that, everyone have a wonderful day. Make sure that you are managing risk and sticking to your trade plan. If you don't have a trade plan, make sure you make a trade plan. If you don't know how to make a trade plan, make sure that you jump in the Discord and ask somebody, or check under the accountability section in the Discord where people post their trade plans every day. And I recommend that you do it and then compare your trading to your trade plan. Did you follow your trade plan? If you did follow your trade plan, would it have worked out? You know, and if you compare that back on the days, a lot of times what happens is people make a trade plan and the trade plan will be like, okay, well, if the market gets down to whatever level, I want to buy it. Well, what happens is they don't buy it because the momentum picks up and they think, oh, I need to get short. They get short at the bottom. Price goes up. They look back at their trade plan. Their trade plan was 100% correct, except for they didn't follow it, so they lost money. You know, that's something that I see happen a lot to a lot of people when I'm going through with their reviews. So not only make the trade plan, but actually follow your trade plan. But other than that, you guys have a wonderful day, and I will catch you guys later. See you later, Tommy. See you later, Pop. See you later, DJ. See you later, this too. Visual Trader, we'll see you later.